fellow friends. Uh, Actually, he is our epidemiology lecturer, and today he is here with us to share a little bit on his life journey. So, Doctor, tell us briefly about your background and the place that you raised up.
Yeah, very nice talking to you. I started off as the youngest child of my parents, two sisters younger to me, and I was born in Kerala, in India, in 8th August 1948. That means almost 60 years ago. And I did my schooling in Trivandrum, in a government college, school, and the best part of my school days was in the 10th standard when I took part in the youth festival, and we went on to win the state youth festival first prize for the Merchant of Venice trial seat, and it was in the history of Kerala that English play won the first prize. And I was also in the NCC as a troop leader, and it was like a Midas touch. What do I touch turned gold. And I had my elder sister who was a doctor, so I was really impressed by being a doctor as well as being in the armed forces. And fortunately for me, the Armed Forces Medical College, which is in Pune, just started, and they were looking for applicants. And out of almost 1 lakh applicants, I happened to be the top 5 of the Armed Forces Medical College selection. And that is how I landed up in medicine, because I wanted to be a doctor and also serve the armed forces. So that is how I landed up in medicine.
It's such an inspiration for us, Doctor. Actually, most of the time we usually look at doctors like as if they were nerdies and bookworms back then during their school life. But then you were such an active student before, and it is truly an inspiration for us as well.
Thank you. Thank
for
you
your
much.
service and your willingness to serve. Okay, our next question to you actually. Was medical studies solely your choice, or anyone inspired you?
Absolutely my choice. I had no other option. Although I got 10% marks in maths, I had decided that I'm going to take biology, and that is how I chose medicine. Deliberately, it was my choice, and I was really impressed. A doctor being in white coat with a stethoscope and looking after patients, and we always say the doctor is next to God. So that is what I was looking forward to as a career in the future.
Indeed, God in white coat, right, Doctor? Yeah, so we as medical students usually face financial constraints during our medical studies, since this is the most expensive studies, I guess, so far. So how did you manage yours like that, Doctor?
Well, my parents didn't have to worry about payment at all. I got scholarship in the 8th standard, in the 10th standard, 12th standard, and for my medical studies because of my merit. So they had no fees. Fees was exempted. In fact, the government paid me money for my studies. I got scholarship, Maharaja scholarship in my school, the State University, Kerala University scholarship in the 11th and 12th, and the government of India gave me a scholarship for my medical studies, with a job confirmed that I joined the armed forces. So I didn't have to pay a penny, as far as my parents didn't have to pay a penny. And in fact, I had, with that pocket money, I was able to look after myself. They had to spend no money whatsoever.
That was such a wow answer from you, Doctor, actually. You mentioned about armed forces just now. So how long was your service with the armed forces?
I almost spent 4 decades in the armed forces, and in fact, we have 2 of my classmates who are here from the same batch who are in AIMS right now, and I have been the secretary of the class 1966 batch reunion, which we recently in 2016 celebrated the Golden Jubilee, and we had almost 120 of our batchmates coming and meeting now, and I organized it in Pune. So I look forward to event management. In fact, I always believe that students should be all-rounders. Good speakers, good actors, take part in music, dramatics, games, and studies, of course. So when you play hard. When you work hard. So that is how I look at it. Like,
That's such a good quote actually. We always look at your activeness in the class and actually inspires us all the time. Alright, Doctor. Throughout your service, what was the worst case you have encountered during your experience in this medical field?
well, even before I go into medical field, I had a very, very traumatic experience in my 17th year before I joined medical college. My father, who was very ill, and we lost him when I was just 17. And that was the time my mother and two sisters, my mother was a housewife, my two sisters were still just finishing college, and we were bankrupt. All the money in the bank was spent for his treatment. And this was the stage, the most traumatic stage. And if I had not gone to do Armed Forces Medical College with a scholarship, I never would have been a doctor, because I could not afford to take a loan and study like how you study. So this was a big hurdle in my life, but fortunately God heard my prayers, and I was able to get into a medical college, and today I am a doctor. So that is as far as, but in the services, I have always looked at that. Even if I had met with an obstacle, I always looked ahead with life, went on with life, and there weren't very many obstacles that sort in my medical career as such. And it was smooth sailing whatsoever. I enjoyed every bit, even a difficult place when you were in the midst of war, and absolutely enjoyed every bit of it. Those and the whole family supported me, and it was a journey that I will always remember and cherish.
That's about your life journey, Doctor. How about those, maybe you can explain a bit about any worst patient you have encountered or worst case, medical case that you have encountered before?
Well, in my initial period when I was a doctor in a training center where youngsters, 17-year-old, 16-year-old come and join there, and they are undergoing training, so they are through a lot of physical activity which keeps them very, very busy, very tiring, very exhausting. There was a situation when I was all by myself, and this young boy was knocked down by a vehicle. He accidentally came in front of a vehicle, was knocked out, and he landed up with multiple injuries. And it was very difficult even to start an IV drip because his he had gone into peripheral circulatory failure, all the veins had collapsed. And with great difficulty, we did a venesection, started off an IV drip, and I had to accompany this patient to the hospital, which was almost 30 kilometers away. And with the traffic in Bangalore, it takes almost 1 hour to reach the hospital. But fortunately, we managed to get this patient who was sinking to the hospital, and he lived and saw the next day. And that was a very, very satisfying experience of my life. We thought we almost would have lost him. So that was touch and go as far as life and death was concerned. I saw it. And there are very, very many such situations you find during a career where you get a lot of satisfaction when you work very hard in the intensive care and see those patients recover.
We as medical students truly hope that we can adapt to
Yeah,
such
definitely,
many
definitely. It is if you're very sincere, dedicated, and with perseverance, I think you can achieve anything in life. You should dream big and work hard for it, and you will always achieve. And always keep God there, pray hard. Don't think that you become God just because you become a doctor, and you will always achieve. There is never failure coming in your way. In fact, even failure is a stepping stone to success. So even if you are failed in an exam or something, never take it to heart. You will always do better. You will learn a lot from your failures also. It is not always you learn from success.
Failure is sometimes the best medicine, Doctor. Yeah. So, Doctor, all this while you have been listening to such an energetic, young, all-in-one boy, and so now you are a married man. And so, how do you manage being a family man, a doctor, and as well as a lecturer?
I got married in 1978. It was an arranged marriage. Because probably these days you can't think of an arranged marriage. The boy and the girl find themselves partners and get married. But we, as a very, very conservative family, I decided that I will go to get married to the girl that is agreeable and selected by my mother, because by then I lost my father. So I got married, and she was very, very understanding, because being an armed forces man, she would have to move along with me to different places in forward area where there is war and things like that. So she did not take up a job that would affect her career. She was willing to give up the career which she had gone to a bank, and she decided to be a teacher. She was doing a post-graduation in English. She went on to do a bachelor and master's in education and became a teacher so that she could, and the government service, so that she could get a transfer to whichever place I went. And that way, she also spent almost 40 years in teaching. So as a teacher, she was looking after both my sons and myself, like 3 children at home. So that was a big support for me as far as my life is concerned. I had my 2 children and wife to support me for whatever I did, and it was fantastic feeling. We used to always go for holidays, treks, whenever there was a weekend, and we enjoyed life. We've gone across the globe, all with the whole family always. So it is always, they used to say, this is a together family, always happy and looking very positive throughout. So that is something that the family contributed to the happiness of all of us.
You have such a supportive marital life and family life.
Yes, thank you very much.
Happy to hear that.
Actually, we have been experiencing such a positive vibration from you since just now. But no matter how positive a person is, I'm sure he or she will face a breakdown in his life which inspires him himself more. So, what will actually motivate you whenever you feel like you can, no matter in your life or in your career?
Well, I feel that those obstacles that come in your way make you stronger. And as we are a very, very religious-minded Catholic family, and we always had a very strong religious background as far as we are concerned. So I never really, even when I lost my father, when I lost my mother, they were all those, we knew that yes, that is part and parcel of life, and we have to take it in us, right? And it was always taking additional. When I lost my father, I was just 17. I knew I was the only male member in the family, and I took up that responsibility. Although it was something very, very, I was something huge. I mean, like I didn't realize it back then, but later on when I found the financial situation and the responsibilities that were there, it just came on automatically. So I feel that if you are religious, you pray hard and sincere, you can overcome any difficulty. Whether it's the loss of parents or it is the loss of job, which of course I have not faced. And I always wanted to go abroad and work, and when it came to Malaysia, I said I will travel with both hands. Because my wife was born in Malaysia, so she has got a Malaysian connection. So we said, why not? So that is how we are in now.
Prayers is one of your
yes, absolutely,
main.
absolutely, Gauri. Always remember, Gauri, you must pray hard, work hard, and you will always succeed. All the very best.
Thank you very much, Doctor. My last question to you, Doctor. Do you have a role model in your life?
Well, there are several role models, not one particular person for each role. If you talk for public speaking, I talk of Shashi Tharoor, who inspires me as far as public speaking is concerned. And I'm very fond of dramatics, so quite a number of actors, both in Hindi and Malayalam, they inspire me. Mohanlal, for example, is a very versatile actor. So I incorporate all that when I teach students, so that I can put across that message much better. So that way I've got role models in all, whether it is in the armed forces. There are people who have taught us, those teachers in medical school. They were several of them. You take a good quality of a particular person who is very good as a clinician, as a person, or for other extracurricular activities. So you have multiple people as role model, not just one person cannot be a role model for you. There are qualities in all people. So that is a.
Alright, doctor. So now, since we have seen just a little part of your life, you have been an idol for us as well.
Oh, that is flattering.
But indeed, it is true, doctor, because it's really inspiring. So, thank you very much for your time despite the hectic schedule.
No, not at all, Gauri. It has been a pleasure talking to you. Looking forward to more interactions like this.
Sure, doctor.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, doctor.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, friends.